Hi cuties, my name is Hanako Kozumi and this is the channel Nerdy Nekoma. Everything here is about Haikyuu chat stories and fanfic. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. And with that, welcome to today's video, or in other words, the tops get sick/injured. Today's video features YakuLev, KinKuni, and IwaOi. I hope you will like it. Let's go! Have you ever had struggles finding good Haikyuu merch or anime merch in general? Because I for sure did. It can be hard, but this shop offers amazing merch. Like, I'm literally obsessed with the Haikyuu merch. They have the cutest hoodies ever. Now, if you want to get 10% off, click the link in the description. They offer me a collaboration which is literally amazing, and you support my channel this way, so win-win. Let's go! Is it serious? Huh? Liev turned around to face Kenma, who just looked at the tree to their left incredulously. He followed his gaze and almost spit out the water he just drank. There in the tree sat the same cat they've rescued a couple of days ago. Same cat and the same tree. And as if on cue, it started meowing miserably. Kenma? No, don't even think about it. What? You didn't even know what I wanted. He whined and slumped over a bit. Kenma raised an eyebrow, but didn't even spare him a glance. You wanted to lift me up on your shoulders again to get the cat. I mean, yeah, it worked the last time. The smaller shuddered a bit at the memory and pouted. It scratched us. The blonde huffed and demonstratively turned his back towards the cat before letting himself fall onto the grass again. Besides, I'm too tired for cat rescuing. Liev blinked before narrowing his eyes in determination. Okay, you can take a break, Kenma. I'll get the cat. The blonde just hummed in agreement, barely registering what he said, and even less what that may include. He just pressed his forehead into the cold grass, a welcome change to the heat coursing through his body after training, while the first year ran off in the direction of the tree and cat. Part of him acknowledged the sounds as Liev attempted to climb the tree, more or less successfully. They were drowned out by a laugh to his side. Is our kitten tired? Kuro teasingly nudged Kenma aside, who just groaned in response. Shut up, Kuro. He laughed again. Where's Leovochka? Aw, you're using nicknames, Yakun-chan. Shut up! No one asked for your opinion. Kenma groaned again, but lifted his arm to point at the tree Liev was in. It earned him confused looks from the third graders until Yaku understood and saw the silver hair peeking out between the green leaves. He gasped, his eyes widening in shock before narrowing in anger. Liev Heiwa, what in hell do you think you're doing? Huh? Liev looked up surprised and smiled when he saw his boyfriend, seemingly oblivious towards his anger. Oh, hey Mori! He waved while Yaku blushed at the nickname. Stop that! And don't let go of the tree, stupid titan! However, it was too late.
Liev lost his balance, and in an attempt to prevent the fall, he held onto the branch the cat was on, which got startled and scratched his hands and back as it used Liev to climb down the tree, more or less. There was a low thud when the silver-haired collided with the ground. A pain groan escaped his lips while he attempted to get back on his feet. Liev! Careful, you could be seriously hurt. He rushed to his side and scanned the tunnel for injuries. There were some nasty scratches on his hands, and one was already swelling around his wrist. I'm fine, Mori. He smiled brightly, a hypocrite to the tears in his eyes. It's just... Ow! Yaku pinched him. He was too afraid a punch or kick might worsen the damage, and looked at him sternly. You are not fine, and it's not just a scratch, so shut up and let me take care of you. He regretted the words as soon as they left his mouth. Liev looked at him in awe, and with so much affection in his eyes, it was hard to believe he was thinking about him, while Kudo behind them burst out laughing again. Thank you. I love you, Mori. Stop calling me that! His blush got even darker. At least Liev complied now when he carefully guided him to get up and led the way to the nurse. Did you hit your head? Nope. He grinned proudly at Yaku, who just scowled back at him. You know that falling from a tree is nothing to be proud of. I'm proud of you. I have the best boyfriend ever. No idea what I did to deserve this. Yaku was speechless. He only found his words again when the spiker suddenly wrapped his arms around the Libera's neck. Hey, careful! Your wrist! You need to be careful with your wrist! Oh, right. It better not be broken, or I'll make you run 10 extra laps as soon as you're allowed to practice again. Liev laughed and held him close. The pain was almost forgotten by the time the nurse tended to his injuries. After all, Yaku was with him the whole time. Kunimi muttered silent curses under his breath on his way to practice. He was panting as he ran up to the gym, exhausted before training had even started, all because Yutaro didn't show up at their usual spot, and also didn't mind sending him a message that he was sick, running late, or whatever. Now he had to run to make it in time. He groaned as he finally reached the gym and leaned against the doorframe to catch his breath. Now, if that is not beloved Kohai, I know that you hate going above and beyond for just a club, but this is the first time I actually see you being late. Kunimi scowled at his captain and clenched his teeth. He automatically scanned the room as he walked inside after taking his shoes off for any sign of Kendaichi. It's not like Kunimi expected him to just ditch their plans and walk here alone without him, but part of him hoped he did, because that way he at least would be here. But of course, nothing. It didn't exactly improve his mood or performance. He was being yelled at for being even more lazy than usual. His technique was lacking and he couldn't concentrate for the life of his. He was irritated from the moment he set foot into the building, and Kindaichi's sudden absence only made things worse, along with Oikawa's teasing comments and the glances he received from Iwaizumi, Hanamaki, and Matsukawa, which could only be described as concerned, at least partially. As calming as it was to know that at least some of the third graders cared about their underclassmen's well-being, Oikawa did in his own way. Today, it just annoyed him to no end. As if he was the one missing practice. Not that today's training would lead to much improvement, but at least he was here. The subtle worry tugging at his heart slowly only fueled his anger. And when his phone rang with Yutaro's name appearing on the display, he didn't hesitate. He threw a swift apology into the coach's direction before accepting the call, fully prepared to chew Kindaichi out. He started talking before he was even outside. "Where have you been? I was waiting for you." "Akira." "Don't Akira me. I was late because of you. You could have at least sent me a message that you weren't coming." He let out all his frustration. Now that his worry had subsided upon hearing Kindaichi's voice, the anger took over. "I'm sorry. I slept in and forgot. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry." "Oh really? Now you're sorry?" "Do you have any idea how worried I was? You always send me a text when you're sick. I thought something terrible must have happened." The line fell silent for a second as Kunimi took a deep breath to calm down while Kindaichi was still debating with himself how he should approach the topic. Yeah, well, about that." Kunimi paused. "About what?" His words sounded more aggressive than he intended them to. He was nervous as the worry returned, now almost overwhelming. "Well, I won't be able to come to training for a while." "Why?" He worried his bottom lip between his teeth while anxiously waiting for a response. "Yutaro, what is wrong?" Worry seeped into his voice, and he could hear some shuffling from the other end of the line. "Nothing. I mean, I will be fine. It's not as bad as it might sound." "What is not as bad as it might sound?" "Me and my mom, we got involved in an accident a bit. But we are both fine, just some fractured ribs on my part and a broken arm on hers." "It was a really stupid accident. That guy wanted to pass us at a bad timing and, well..." "Kunimi?" He was at a loss for words. Why had he been so angry with him? Why did he say all that? As if it was his fault. Why? "Akira. I'm coming to the hospital. Be right there." "You don't have to..." "Yes, he did." He hung up and ran back inside to get his things and tell the coach and team what happened. They of course let him go after he promised to greet Kindaichi from all of them and to be careful on his way there. He just nodded quickly before making a run for the hospital. The way was longer than his way to school, and halfway through he cursed his poor stamina as he pushed himself to move further. The receptionist barely understood his request and almost wanted to check him in as a patient since he was panting so much. Kunimi shook his head frantically at the approaching nurse, took a deep breath and tried again, a tiny bit calmer this time, to ask for Kindaichi's room number. He gave it to him and watched him leave, with a slightly concerned frown remaining on his face. Kunimi. Kindaichi looked at him surprised as he stormed into the room. Are you alright? He was still panting, but barely paid it any mind as he walked over to his boyfriend. He looked fine, but what if he was in pain? Or if there was... Yes, I'm fine. But what about you? Did you run the whole way here? He would have loved to answer that hardly mattered right now, but he didn't find his words as the room started swaying a bit before his eyes. Kindaichi noticed as well and gently reached for his arm, guiding him to sit down on his bed by his side, effectively pulling him closer. Here, sit down. Catch your breath first. Kunimi shook his head again as silent tears started to assemble in his eyes, running down his cheeks and falling onto his hands. Kunimi, what? I'm sorry. He choked the words out. I was an idiot. I'm sorry. You're not an idiot. I screamed at you while you were here. Why didn't you interrupt me? I'm so sorry. I should have listened. Hey, shh. It's alright. I'm alright. He gently caressed Kunimi's arm until his hand wandered down to Kunimi's and held it tight. It's not. I'm an awful boyfriend. You couldn't know. It's alright. But... No buts. You're the best boyfriend to me. The best I could ever wish for. He smiled softly at Kunimi, who looked at him through tear-filled eyes. I love you, Akira. Love you too. Iwa-chan, hurry! I wanna go home. With how much you whine and complain, it's hard to believe you're a third year, let alone in high school. Oikawa huffed. Mean.
Besides, it would be faster if you'd help.
I already put the net away, and I still want to get my water bottle refilled.
Then why are you complaining to me if you're not even finished yet? Another huff, and Iwa rolled his eyes while Oikawa walked to the changing rooms. Iwaizumi busied himself with picking up the volleyballs that were still laying around when suddenly one rolled in his way, making him slip. He didn't notice it and fell painfully on his butt. Iwa, what are you doing on the ground? I thought you... Shut up. I'm trying to finish cleaning. Part of him was glad that Oikawa didn't see his more than ungrateful fall, but this teasing smirk of his was infuriating, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit hot, which made it all the more annoying. He muttered a few choice words under his breath, involving, but not limited to, sexy idiot, while getting back up on his feet. The moment his foot touched the floor, a pained hiss escaped his throat. He must have twisted his ankle when stumbling over that stupid ball. Annoyed, the spiker clenched his teeth and ignored the pain as he brought the balls over to the closet where they belonged. Hajime? He could hear the now worried tone in Aikara's voice, underlining his words, and he hated it. I'm fine.
It for sure didn't sound like it. When he turned around, he was immediately faced with Aikawa's worried gaze, scanning him from head to toe. The setter didn't fail to notice the way he shifted his weight, unusual and indecisive. Did you hurt your leg? No. Your foot then, or knee, or... I said I'm fine, just let it go. He proceeded to walk past him, making a point to look as natural as possible with every second step hurting like hell. Iwa, let me take a look at it. I said I'm fine. Now are you coming or what? While changing to his outside shoes, he noticed that it started to swell a bit and had to bite his tongue to avoid getting caught. Aikawa still hadn't moved from where they started to argue and just looked at him with something Iwa didn't quite recognize. It was odd. Usually he could read Aikawa like an open book. If not, you can walk home alone. That got him out of his frozen state. However, the snide remark Iwa expected never came. The captain just walked by his side silently and continued this for the entire way from the school grounds. Iwa, who tried to focus on not giving his pain away, slipped up more than once whenever he threw a worried glance at Aikawa. This quiet demeanor didn't suit him at all. Sure, Iwa complained sometimes about his needy and loud nature, but he also loved it. It made Aikawa, and he loved him as such. Did he fail to tell him that? To show him that he loved him for who he was? The more he got lost in his thoughts, the harder it became to hide his discomfort. He bit his lip to not let any of the pained cries slip past his throat, but the pain was evident on his face, so much that after a few more steps, Aikawa rightfully took his wrist to make him stop walking. Hajime. He didn't like this. There was something in Aikawa's voice right now, an emotion he couldn't quite pinpoint that he absolutely hated. It was more than just worry. You are hurt. It wasn't a question, and there was admittedly no use in denying it any longer, so he said nothing. He already knew, so where was the point? What hurts? He hesitated. My ankle. With a sigh, he admitted defeat. Aikawa nodded slowly, and before Iwaizumi could do anything to prevent it, he found himself on Aikawa's back. What do you think you're doing? Bringing you home? Iwa's heart skipped a beat, and he felt the heat creeping up his cheeks. He wanted to protest, but Aikawa had already started, suddenly running. Come on, Iwa! I'm taller than you. Did you really think I couldn't carry you? Part of him was glad that Aikawa sounded almost cheerful again, but the embarrassment predominated. He found himself speechless, and his face hidden against Aikawa's neck so as not to see the people around them undoubtedly staring. At home, Aikawa took a look at his injury and inspected it thoroughly before getting some ice to help with the swelling. All the while, Iwa was still way too flustered to form a coherent thought or response to the treatment. His face was beet red and he avoided eye contact. Aikawa didn't seem to mind as he placed a feather-light kiss on his cheek and smiled warmly. Please be more careful next time. And Iwa? Huh? Please, next time, if something is wrong, tell me right away. He looked at him pleadingly, and it was impossible to say no. Thank you all for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. I know this was already a tiny bit more angsty than what happened before, and the entire last series of the bottoms got 6/100, but this is just the beginning. It will be approximately 10 parts altogether, though I'm not sure yet. I got a bit carried away later on, so there will only be 2 ships per part in the later ones, and a bit more angst. But I hope you will like it. If you like this one, consider leaving a like because it really helps my channel grow. And if you don't want to miss out on anything in the future, consider subscribing. And now I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day.